Now for the internet, you want a really good hack? My aunt asked her neighbor if it's okay to use their Wi-Fi. She lives alone and there's really only one or two devices that use internet, so she pays essentially $0 or euros because it's over in Europe for Wi-Fi, as she lives on one side of a twin or a semi-detached house, as they call them in Ireland, and she doesn't use the internet for much other than like WhatsApp calls, email, basic stuff. Now, some of you may feel that these things are musts, but compare the packages that you have with other providers to negotiate and to ensure that you're getting the best deal. I have. Call and ask. It's likely that they'll do something for you, as they'd prefer keeping you as a customer than have you leave for a competitor. Like, I did this myself. I like teaching from practical experience, not just theory. So I did this with my phone point plan at one point, in fact, multiple points. And honestly, every year I do this now with everything. I save hundreds, if not thousands. Some years I save thousands. I have lowered my internet bill. I've packaged like my phone with my internet. I've had multiple properties, so I've been multiple internet, etc. I've just rang up every year to like negotiate. Like, please, can I come? I'm going to leave the service unless they reduce it, because usually internet companies come in really cheap, and over a few years, suddenly you find your expenses have doubled because they were on an initial plan, right? So you can keep going back to that plan. Sometimes they don't really help you if you stay there for too long. I've also done this with lower phone bills, right? By coming off and saying, look, this other company's offering me a lower bill. And all of a sudden, my existing company, when they think you're going to go, they'll lower your bill. It really does work. I've done this for utilities. Sometimes you'll get massive discounts. Recently, I cut my cost by about 60% because I switched the actual energy providers. So lowering my utilities, lowering my insurance. I'm always ringing around for insurance companies every year or so. I look around and see, is there any way that we can actually lower the insurance? I have saved thousands of dollars. Even in one particular year, I remember, where I saved thousands of dollars. My parents used to do this. My mother does this. This is just a standard thing over there. Now, by the way, there's other utilities as well, right? But just try your best. You will be surprised. It's a massive way you can cut back. Groceries or supermarket shopping, you can reduce spending by looking at different stores. Now, for instance, you could be buying staples, so things that are going to last a long time, for instance. When there are discounts, you can look at other different shops, maybe swap shops, right? So it could be that you're going to Walmart, maybe Costco for the bulk discounts, the wholesale, etc., rather than Whole Foods or Whole Paycheck, right? Aldi, we have Lidl also over in my home country. Just looking at these things, once you go off brands, you can really save a lot of money. Now, this is one where I'm a little bit on the fence because your time is your most valuable asset. So you don't want to do too much where you're losing your time. So there's two schools of thought here. So one is to like do everything for yourself, cook for yourself, clean for yourself, save a fortune. This would be like the Stephan way almost, right? Some people like him, like saving a lot of money, etc. Maybe Dave Ramsey, etc. And that really works, and that's what I have done, and I still do to a certain extent. But if your time is valuable and you're capable of making a lot of money and you're a very hard worker, this is a rare approach. After tax, by the way, you have to think about the after tax, how much you make after tax. Because you might make $100, but if you're only making 50, then you got to use 50 after tax. In that same time, it may make sense to follow the advice of someone like Alex Hormozi, but now we're talking about those that are very high income, very high skill. Now he would suggest, getting others to shop for you, others to cook for you, clean for you, etc., by eating out, for instance, or ordering deliveries. We're not talking about a fancy restaurant. You can get more things like Honeygrow, Chipotle, these kind of stores. They make decently good quality food, but it's going to save you a lot of time if you're thinking about all the time you're going to shop, going to cook, etc. Now, that's only for those who are actually going to use that time to make a lot of money. If you're, a hustler, a grinder, etc., you're making a lot of money, then maybe compare what you're actually making after tax for those hours. You might save some extra hours and be able to do that extra side hustle if you're really a hard worker, okay? I used to cheap out here, and I still control my spending, but for just a few dollars, I now get food delivered and use credit card rewards to essentially get food deliveries where the food is almost cooked or pretty much already cooked and hot and ready to go, or it's been shopped for already. So I'm saving hours. Now, my hourly rate is super high, so this makes sense. You could think about things like DoorDash, Uber Eats, Walmart Plus, Instacart. I love Instacart. Lyft. Now, I'm not getting, currently when I'm recording this, I'm not getting any commissions or kickbacks from this. This is just my experience. Now, I get a lot back with credit cards that I've used. Like I use Chase Sapphire Reserve when your credit is high enough and you're traveling as much as I have, or Amex Platinum too. So I get a lot of the deals back with these cards. Now, one quick tip. Do you need a more expensive gym? Or can a discount one work just as well? When I was a relatively poor college student in my 20s, about 15 years ago, I used to pay easily 200 euros a month, so more in dollars, with the actual gym. I also had trainers. But when I got into my first six-figure income, right, when I started really earning, I actually switched to just between about 15 and 25 bucks a month for much of the last decade. Yeah, I've had some personal trainers once or twice, but for the last few years, mostly I know what I need to do, and I pay a lot less by looking at these apps where I get training programs. You can save a fortune. It may not seem like a huge difference, but if it's something that you're using regularly, it's going to stack up with time. And you may want to go to the more expensive gym. Look, if you want to socialize with affluent people, make connections, etc., fine. I hear that. But be sure you have a good reason and understand the trade-off. Planet Fitness, I use it all the time. There's nothing wrong with it. Yeah, you're not going to get your massive, if you want to be an Olympic power builder, go to somewhere like LA Fitness. You'll get most of the thing there. But there's still, these discount gyms are way cheaper. I've also worked it out that paying gym membership is actually cheaper than buying your own gym, unless you are trying to save the time it takes to travel back and forth to the gym. I hear that argument. That's a good argument. But the quality of stuff that you're going to make at home, the cost, and then maintaining it, the lack of variety, even the socializing, getting up and getting out, there's a lot to be said about going to a discount gym. That's just who I am right now, but you do you, right? These are my little thoughts. But again, understand the trade-off. Make sure you have a good reason. If it's going to help you grow, great.